Felix Lotan is the senior paramedic and head of Disaster Preparedness Department for Magen David Adom, Israel's national EMS service, an affiliate of the International Red Cross. Magen David Adom also serves as Israel's disaster relief agency, providing aid to people affected by natural and man-made disasters around the world. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Following the tragic earthquake in Turkey in February, Felix, a lieutenant colonel in the IDF reserves, participated in Israel's Home Front Command delegation that rescued 19 people from the rebel. Can you tell us about Israel's response in Turkey and what your role was? And also, were other MDA personnel involved?
Actually, yes, we had a quite big team there. We joined the Israeli army, the IDF Search and Rescue Unit, with 10 paramedics that are in reserve in the unit, and myself as a representative of the National EMS Service. So I was part of MDA in the delegation with the guys that are working and volunteering in MDA that were part of the reserve team from the MDA. And we all went with the Israeli delegation to Turkey right after the earthquake. The earthquake was a very, very severe event. It was 7.6 event that happened in Turkey with thousands of casualties. Many buildings collapsed, and actually after 30 hours, our team was already on the ground and started to work at Kahramanmaraş. It's a very big city in the east of Turkey, city of above 1 million people, with thousands of buildings that collapsed and thousands of people that were under the rubble.
Wow, that sounds like quite a mission. What were some of the main challenges and also successes that you faced?
I think we'll start with the challenges. We arrived to the city late in the evening in a very, very cold environment. I will say it in Celsius, I'm sorry, but it was well below 0 Celsius. It was like 7 degrees under zero. It was freezing cold. It was dark because there was almost no electricity in the city. Our trucks with our equipment were all behind us because of the traffic and the road damage after the earthquake. And we arrived to the collapsed city, and people were sitting outside the buildings that collapsed, hope that somebody will find their loved ones that were under the rubble, trying to get warmth from the fire. And this is the event that our team stepped into, and no equipment, cold, no radio, nothing. And the commander of our mission decided that we're not going to rest because we have a very, very small period of time that we have a chance to save lives. We have something in between 24 to 48 hours to be able to save lives. We know this from previous experience in these types of missions, like in Haiti or in Nepal. And we start working. And after 3 hours, we already were able to find, locate, and extract one 12-year-old boy from the rubble. And we extracted him alive. And during this extraction, there was another team that was extracting a young lady, 20 years old lady, from under the rubble. And actually, in the first night, as we arrived, less than 48 hours after we arrived to the ground, we already had 4 people who were saved alive from under the rubble. So it was challenging, it was cold, and it was very, very rewarding. We actually were able to make a difference to save lives.
That's incredible. Is there a particular rescue story that stayed with you?
Well, I think I have several of them. My team and myself were participated in 4 extractions of live people from the rubble. But I think that one of the hardest one was a 28-year-old lady that were under the rubble for many, many hours, and her extraction was really tough one. We had a very tough decisions to make. We even thought of maybe we need to make an amputation of her leg to be able to extract her, because she was in a very, very difficult and very tight area when a lot of bricks on her and construction of her leg. But by the end of the extraction, we actually were able to take her out without the amputation, to take her out from the rubble and to bring her to the ambulance, and she was evacuated to the hospital. And as far as I know, she was okay. 48 hours later, she was transported to a different hospital, bigger hospital, somewhere in central of Turkey. So this was a very challenging event. And I think the young boy I told you about at the beginning, the first extraction of the delegation, it was very tough one because of the very hard environment. It was under a ceiling that was almost collapsing on us while we were working inside there. And the search and rescue technician did an excellent job with the search and rescue officer locating the boy and extracting him during this mission. And quite soon after we received the information he's there, we were able to bring him to his relatives that were waiting outside. It was a very rewarding instruction as well.
The most rewarding. That's incredible.
Yeah, definitely.
What was the response of the local Turkish community for Israelis, Jews being
Well,
there?
I must say they were great. We worked together. We cooperated together all the time. We were like in one big mission. There were extractions that they helped us. The extraction we helped them. We needed their equipment at the beginning, as I said. As we arrived, we had no equipment. All our equipment were in our trucks, way behind us. Around 4 hours later, it arrived. So we used the local team's equipment, the Turkish team's equipment, and they were fully cooperative with us. And after 3 days that we were working on the site in this freezing temperature, people were coming, giving us tea, giving us some bread, smiling at us. And in one extraction of a person named Hussein, I remember that during the extraction when he asked, it was a very tough talking with them because they don't know English. So just imagine yourself, you're under the rubbles in a very tight place and suddenly somebody touches you or trying to put a needle, IV line into your arm. So we need a translator. And he asked the translator, who are those people? He said, Israelis. I say, oh, Israelis. Now I'm confident they will be able to rescue me. I know I'll go out alive from this. So it happened several times when people know the Israeli team, they called us, Israelis, come here. The Israelis will take us out. But I must say that the Turkish team was an excellent team as well. They worked very hard to save the lives of their people, and the cooperation between us and the Turkish team were excellent.
An incredible, important partnership. Wow. Why does MDA respond to international disasters, and is there anything that sets you apart from the Red Cross or other types of relief organizations?
Well, actually, we are the Israeli Red Cross branch. We're part of the Red Cross. So as Red Cross all about, we are part of the International Red Cross in Israel. This is why we're doing many international missions. One of the missions was a mission in the United States. We were in Harvey after Harvey hurricane in Houston, Texas. So we had a team there where I actually was one of the team that came with the American Red Cross. We worked together. And we were in Haiti, we were in Nepal. We had some missions in the Mediterranean with the refugee crisis in Moldova, so after the Ukraine crisis. So as the Red Cross Association of Israel, we're doing a lot of humanitarian aid, and some of it, of course, outside of Israel. But we're learning from this as well, because we need to be prepared as the Israeli National EMS, which is MDA. We need to be prepared for disasters and events like this that will happen in Israel. So part of work internationally is to reach hand and help others, and we're learning from other experience to be able to help ourselves in case of disaster like this.
Wow. Terrorism is unfortunately on the rise in Israel, and last week alone we saw over 1,300 rockets fired indiscriminately into Israel from Gaza. Can you tell us how MDA prepares for such things like car ramming, shootings, stabbings, and rocket and missile attacks?
Well, sadly, we have a lot of experience. Myself is a volunteer and later employee of MDA from 2002 in Jerusalem region, so you can imagine what type of events I participate, from the suicide bombers, ramming events, stabbing events, and of course the recent events as well, escalations. MDA is the National EMS Service. As the National EMS Service, this is our duty. It is our responsibility to help the people of Israel in those type of crises. In time of war, in time of escalation, in time of conflict, and of course, during terror events. Since this is our duty, we're preparing for this as well. We're making a lot of efforts to be prepared. We're training our teams how to react. We're training our teams how to perform proper triage to decide who will be the first one you need to take care of, who has the more chance of survival, how you need to react regarding personal protective equipment, helmets, bullet protective vests, how you need to respond to a scene where there is an active shooter right now, event with an active shooter or with a terrorist, and you are there with your team, and there are wounded people lying at the scene, and you need to respond to them while there is an active shooting going on at the scene, and our teams are already there, and the terrorist is there, and the police is there. What shall you do? How you should react? How you will react if a bus exploded after a suicide bomber? Maybe have more explosive on him. Maybe there is something else that can endanger the team at the bus. All those things we're doing all year round. Every year we have training for our teams, for our volunteers and our employees are getting trained routinely on those type of issues.
Unfortunately, Israel has experience with this very specific continual training. Well, as you know, MDA is a non-political organization that serves people from all backgrounds in Israel and is made up of people of all backgrounds. Can you speak to that?
Yes, of course. The coexistence that we all want to see in Israel, we can see it in MDA. On the same ambulance, on the same intensive care unit, you can find a Muslim driver or Muslim paramedic with a Jewish driver or Jewish paramedic, boy or girl, religious or secular. We all work together. You can find on the shift during Saturday, during Yom Kippur, during a holiday, Muslim holiday, Ramadan, or whatever, teams that combined all aspects of the Israeli society. You arriving to a scene, when you see MDA there, you will probably see girls, boys, Jews, not Jews, Muslims, Christians, every color, every language, every religion that working together in one goal. And the goal is to save lives. This is our goal, to save lives in Israel, to help others, to reach our hand, to make people trust that there is someone there to help them when they're in need. And this is what MDA does. We're EMS organization, the national EMS organization of Israel.
Well, we're so grateful that you do it and you do it so well for the citizens of Israel and people around the world. What can we do? How can we help?
So first of all, there is the American Friends of MDA, afmda.org, which are very important for the support of our goals. And they're supporting us a lot. So if somebody wants to help us, we really ask you to go to the website, afmda.org, and see how can you support MDA. And when you're supporting MDA, you're supporting Israel. And I must thank you, Stand With Us, because you're helping us to tell our story to the world, tell our story to everybody, to understand that who we are and what do we do to save lives in Israel and wherever we can. So thank you very much.
Thank you for being with us and thank you for
I'm
your
happy to be here.
service.
Thank you very much.